So you talk about fallen angels and spiritual warfare. What is something that you believe most Christians still don't understand about it?
Man, I could go a wide variety of ways, but one thing that I really want to go, that I really believe that the Lord is leading me on with that.
Yeah.
2 points piggyback is when we look at Satan, we think of ourselves as the victim. And we oftentimes, when we talk about Satan in church, especially as new believers, or, growing up in church, you hear, oh my gosh, the devil just beat on me. The devil did this. The devil did that. He did this. He did that. Right now, don't get me wrong. The devil does do that. He does, do that if you let him. But here's the thing. Satan's on a leash from God. He is on a leash from God, meaning that Satan did rebel against God, and we see in Isaiah and in Ezekiel and in Scripture. Nevertheless, when you go to Job chapter 1, Job chapter 2, the entire book of Revelation, when you go to multiple passages in the Tanakh, or the Old Testament, if you will, you see multiple times where Satan himself, he was actually carrying out judgments of God. And a lot of people, they don't understand that Satan himself, he is a created angel. He's not equal with God at all.
Yes.
In himself, if I can say it like this, whenever you used to get in trouble as a child, I know me, you used to get that belt pulled on,
They kept bringing that switch out, bro. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They don't do that anymore nowadays, bro.
I know, but Satan, if I had to call, he would be God's switch. He would be God's belt. And I say that because when you go in Scripture, multiple places, God uses Satan as both chastising and testing us. So when we go to the Apostle Paul in First Corinthians and Second Corinthians, I believe these are the books, you'll see that there was a young man that was sleeping with his father's wife, his stepmom, right? And when he was sleeping with her, the Apostle Paul essentially rebuked him, and I believe rebuked the church too. And he said, give him over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, so he may be saved in the day of judgment. So I used to read that scripture a while ago, I was like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So the Lord started piecing stuff together for me, that when we take a look in Scripture, we see, if we go to Job chapter 1 and 2, God, when you actually go and read it, you'll see that Satan never asked for Job. When you go read it, you'll see that Satan never asked for Job. God introduced Job to Satan. Satan was on, looking for somebody to test, and God said, have you considered my servant Job? And
because he was already in the business of testing. That's what he did. He went to and fro. He did that was like his mission.
Yes. And then we see it again in Job 2. Have you considered my servant Job?